Good morning. I hope everyone's well this morning. Today we're going to review distance and midpoint and the formulas. When we have 2 points, 2 coordinates, and we want to get the midpoint between them, that's halfway. How do you find the average or halfway? You add them up, add the coordinates up, and divide by 2. How do you find the distance? We're going to put that in the distance formula, and that is just another way to do the Pythagorean theorem. But what I want to do is go and look at the formulas right now. Okay, so I'm going to turn on my document camera and we're going to review the formulas. So if I have 2 points, x1, y1, and x2, y2. I have 2 points and I'm asked to find the midpoint. And our midpoint formula, we're going to add up the x values and divide by 2. That's going to give us the x coordinate. We're going to add up the y values and divide by 2. That's going to give us those y values, okay? Now, the distance is a little more complicated, but with Desmos, we can just put it in. We can just put it in our calculator in Desmos and get that. It is the square root of the difference in the x value squared. And I'm going to add to that the difference in the y value squared. All right, so let's try an example. Here's example 1. I have, let's see, 7, 6, and 0, 2. All right, so I am asked to find the midpoint between these 2 coordinates and the distance between these 2 coordinates. This is going to be my x1, y1, and this is going to be my x2, y2. I am just going to substitute these values into these formulas and do the calculation. So the midpoint, I'm going to take 7 plus 0, the x values, and divide by 2. And the y values, 6 plus 2, and divide by 2. So my midpoint, 7 plus 0 is 7 over 2. You can put 3.5 or just 7 over 2. And then the y values, 6 plus 2 is 8. 8 over 2 is 4. So there is my midpoint between those 2 coordinates. Now, if I'm asked to do the distance between them, it is the square root, and I'm looking at my formula up here, of the difference in the x values, 0 minus 7 squared, plus 2 minus 6 squared. So I have the square root of negative 7 squared plus negative 4 squared. And we all know that when you square a negative number, negative times a negative becomes a positive. So I have the difference in negative 7 squared is 49. Negative 4 squared is 16. That is the square root of 65. You can leave it like that. If you have a calculator and you want to estimate that, that would be fine. I'm going to show you right here in Desmos. I have my Desmos up and I have the keyboard down here. I can do the square root of, and if I put in parentheses 0 minus 7 in the parentheses and square that. I'm going to add to that the change in the y values, which was 2 minus 6 squared. And it gives me that 8.06. Now down here, we said it was the square root of 65. Let's check it and see if it's right. 8.06. We get that. Okay? I'm going to do one more example for you, and then you can get to work. So the next example is if I have some negative numbers. Example 2, I have two coordinates, -4, -2, and 3, 3. So what I'm going to do here on example 2, my midpoint, I'm going to add up the x values, -4 plus 3 over 2, -2 plus 3 over 2. So the midpoint, -4 plus 3 is -1 over 2, or -1/2. 2 plus 3 is +1 over 2, or +1/2. Now let's look at our distance. The distance formula is the square root of the change in the x values, 3 minus a -4, which changes that to a positive, squared, plus the change in the y values, 3 minus a -2, squared. So I have the square root of 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 squared is 49. 3 plus 2 squared is 5. 5 squared is 25. So then the distance is the square root of 74. And like I said, you can do that over in your Desmos if you would like. But I hope everybody's doing well. And remember, I will be here between 10 and 11 today, and I am between 2 and 3. I hope you have a great day. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I hope everybody's well. I miss you guys.